I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to episode 54 of the Best Thing We've Seen podcast. My name is Flo.
And I'm Gabe. How are you?
I'm okay, dude. How about you?
I'm okay as well.
We're both sipping tea.
Yeah. It is the season.
Yeah. To be jolly. Yeah, I mean, what a week, right? What was your week like? We had, I think you told me before it was a stressful week for you, and
Yeah.
it still is.
Yeah, a lot to do still for university, but it'll be over soon, and then the new semester starts. But the first couple of weeks of university are always quite chill, usually.
Yeah. I don't know. I got two things coming up that I think are going to be very stressful.
Yeah, some exams or some papers you got to do.
Well, some seminars that lead to papers.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. How was the week in terms of watching things? Did you watch a lot?
A couple of things. I suspect there were the same things that you saw. Some bigger releases.
I don't know about that, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, I guess. But I guess we'll get to it, but I wasn't as blown away as I wanted to be.
By what? By everything you saw?
By everything.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, we'll get to it. There was like only one film that I was really looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was kind of more like a chore.
Yeah.
Oh, it was for you? Maybe. I think we're talking about different movies though, but
maybe.
Yeah. We'll see. Right, then let's get straight into it before we...
Yeah, I think it's your turn to start this week.
Yeah, do you want to just do your thing?
Yeah, sure. So this is another regular episode. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Here we're going to talk about the best thing that we've seen all week. That means anything from a movie to a TV show to even a YouTube video. So as always, we don't know what each other's picks are going to be, but I think we have a pretty good picture of what we've seen this week at least. And yeah, Flo is going to start us off, I guess, with an honorable mention first.
Sure. Which might be your pick?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I have a third thing that I've seen. I think you've seen two things, you said?
Yeah.
Before we started. I guess I can start off with that.
Do that.
Just to be sure. Yeah, what I saw this week is a YouTube video. Once again, it's been some time, I think.
Okay.
Well, oh no, Arnold Schwarzenegger's vaccination was like 2-3 weeks ago. Great moment.
Yeah. You keep bringing it back up. I love it. Have you watched it?
I have.
Oh yeah.
It's a pretty good video.
It's a good one.
No, but I started watching a YouTube channel now and again. Every couple of weeks, maybe I'll watch a video by MattColbo. I don't know if you've seen any of his stuff. He's still quite unknown.
It doesn't ring a bell. How do you spell his last name?
MattColbo, Colbo.
Okay. No,
he's I think Canadian, and he's got like a little under 200,000 subscribers. A little time ago, he had like 50 or 40 when I saw him, but then he had a video that kind of blew up like 5 months ago where he impersonated Tom Scott, who's a pretty big YouTuber who does science and history videos and explains curious kind of facts.
Yes, I have seen one video of his recently, actually. I'm just looking
which one?
It was the every inspirational video where he, with the tagline like on the thumbnail, I wake up at 3 a.m., where he makes fun of people who wake up at 3 a.m.
I'm not even sure that I've seen this one.
Yeah, that's the one I saw. Funny, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but he's a pretty good kind of sketch comedian. He's got some very interesting ideas. In some videos, he does these very elaborate rhymes. He kind of builds on, for example, she sells seashells down by the seashore, and then he kind of expands on the idea.
Well done.
And does it in a rhyming form. Then, all right, she sells seashells by the seashore, but it's kind of exploitation, right? Because seashells are free there, so why is she selling them? Why are people buying them? And well, maybe she's not really selling seashells. Maybe it's a euphemism.
Right.
And his most recent video that he uploaded a couple of days ago is a parody of the GQ videos.
Yeah, I'm looking at the thumbnail right now. Yeah.
Which is GQ is a magazine. They do these YouTube videos where they bring in experts. For example, I recently watched one where a former U.S. Marine talks about boot camps and boot camp scenes in movies like from Jarhead and Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, great videos.
Sorry?
Great videos. All
They're
of those.
great, yeah. I love them as well. And MattColbo does this great parody of those, saying, in this video, it's titled Former Infant Breaks Down Baby Scenes. And then he talks about, for example, 1917. He makes some
pretty
great
good.
jokes. Yeah, it is. And he also, what is not in the title, he also pretends to be an adulterer and talks about people cheating on other people and how realistic that is.
Okay.
And it's very funny, especially my highlight was just the 1917 scene, which is like the first 2 minutes. He talks about how the French used to keep babies in drawers, and he knows a French guy who grew up like the first 2 years in the drawer or something. And he's got a great way of delivering lines, and I think he's a great sketch comedian for YouTube. And I'm not a huge fan of all of these channels. They're like sand on the beach, those kind of channels.
Sure.
And a lot of them are hit or miss. But I think his are quite good, and I think he's got a lot of great stuff, and he's still up and coming, I guess. So
yeah, it's always fun if you discover someone before they have a big break.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I wish him all the best. I wish him all the success in the world. I think he's a very funny guy, but I guess people also change, and humor also changes the bigger channels get. I hope that's not going to be the case. But if you haven't heard of MattColbo, I think he's a nice little tip if you're into the YouTube comedy scene.
Yeah. It took me a while to remember there's a baby scene in 1917. There's like other movies with more important baby scenes. No, first thing I thought of was Children of Men. But it's interesting to me that he picked 1917 as a movie that features a baby. You know what I mean?
Fair enough, but I guess Children of Men...
No, or just any other movie with a baby, you know? I mean, I guess there's one in
Maybe it's just
1917.
because it's recent.
Yeah.
And he got some pretty good jokes in there. So.
No, yeah, I haven't seen it. I love the former infant. That's pretty fucking smart.
I think one of the comments is also idea 10 out of 10, execution 11 out of 10. That's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Right.
that's my little honorable mention before the start of this, of the real things, of the best things.
I'm surprised this did not make you pick then. If you enjoyed that,
I actually contemplate picking it as my pick, but I think my favorite scene was primarily like the 1917 ones,
right?
And like the former baby and the adultery jokes were also quite good, but not as funny. And
Right.
it's kind of hard to kind of weigh that against a full-fledged, full-length movie, right?
It is, but I mean, it's those tough choices that define us, you know.
So yeah, I mean, it's your turn, I guess, to say what your honorable mention is of the two things that you've seen. I am
Yes, I think
interested, but I think it's going to be the same thing.
You think so?
I think so, pretty sure.
Well, my
But who
honorable is News of the World.
Oh, well, then I was pretty fucking wrong.
I was going to say, yeah, there's no way that you did not. Well, then let's talk about, since I start, let's talk about my pick first. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Which is I Care a Lot,
Mm-hmm.
which I assume you didn't like at all then.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I thought when you said it was a bit of a chore to watch, I thought you were referring to this movie.
No, definitely not.
Oh, okay.
That
So you
one
enjoyed
flew
it?
by. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
And it's also because I was really looking forward to this movie. I've been
Mhm.
looking forward to this for quite a while now, and compared to News of the World, I wasn't. Like that
Oh,
movie.
really? I thought just because it was by Paul Greengrass, who I thought you liked.
No, I mean I don't have that a special affinity for Paul Greengrass.
Oh, okay, well.
I mean I like the Bourne movies, but
I mean, he's also done like sorry, before we
go on.
I Care a Lot, but he's also like done Captain Phillips, which is
Yeah.
also with Tom Hanks. So I thought this was a collaboration that you were looking forward to.
It's
Because
just
you're a big fan of Captain Phillips, right?
I wouldn't say big. I think it's one of his best performances,
Mhm.
Tom Hanks. Yeah, but it's just the setting of News of the World didn't really appeal to me. But we'll get to it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
let's
okay.
talk about I Care a Lot, which I have to say, if you don't know this movie, it came out like last Friday on Netflix, starring Rosamund Pike and Peter Dinklage and many other people that are very interesting, like Chris Messina, who we talked about before, Diane Wiest, who it took me a while to remember where I knew her from, but she's in like The Birdcage, and recently she was in The Mule with Clint Eastwood. And I mean, a lot of other interesting actors in there, like for example, Macon Blair. Do you remember him? He's the guy who directed I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore.
Right, who does he play?
He plays the son in the beginning of the mother that is taken away.
Right, yeah.
And this movie is about Rosamund Pike sort of, basically stealing elder people's lives and making money out of it. Like, she's a guardian, and she is, what a bitch. And I've rarely seen such an unlikable character within the first like 5 or 10 minutes, because as I just mentioned, like Macon Blair, he sues her. He doesn't sue her, but he's trying to get the order reversed. Yeah, because Rosamund Pike, she basically put his mother into a care facility, but she doesn't really need to be there, and she doesn't want to be there. But once she's in there, she has no access to a phone, and she doesn't have access to go outside, and she's basically in a prison. And Rosamund Pike is doing that because she then can basically just loot this person's house for anything she can find and sell properties, and just to make a lot of money. Basically, doesn't care about the effects that or the aftermath of everything. And I have to say, first of all, let's run a little clip of it. I think that would make sense now.
Yeah, sure.
Good morning, Miss Peterson. I'm sorry to disturb you so early. The court has ruled that you require assistance in taking care of yourself.
I'm fine.
I'm afraid it's not up to you to decide. The court has appointed me to be your legal guardian.
What?
You have to come with me. And remember, I'm here to help.
My name is Marla Grayson.
I'm just someone who cares.
Marla Grayson, you've had amazing success. What's your secret?
There is no secret, Peter.
She forces them into the home, auctions off their house, and uses the proceeds to pay herself.
Because caring is my job.
Bitch!
I will grab your dick and balls, and I will rip them clean off.
Big deal maker.
I know what you do here. Your hustle. Look at all these cash cows on your wall just leaking money into your account. But Jennifer Peterson, she's off limits. She has very powerful friends who can make life uncomfortable for you.
How uncomfortable are we talking?
All right. I have to say that I loved the premise of this beforehand, but when I mean, you heard it in the trailer probably, that the main plot of the thing is that she then takes advantage of a certain older lady played by Diane Wiest, whose son is played by Peter Dinklage, who is a guy who has ties to the Russian mafia. So he then comes after Rosamund Pike, and that's sort of the main part of the movie. And things escalate quite a bit to an extent which I didn't anticipate at all. I mean, it sort of starts off as this, legal drama, and then it sort of turns into a thriller or a heist, not a heist, but sort of like a regular crime movie, I guess. And it wasn't until the last 2 minutes of the film where I was like, I did not like this movie at all. And the last 2 minutes of the film saved it completely for me. If it wasn't for those 2 minutes, I would have genuinely not liked this movie.
Sorry.
Go on.
No, I have to just say, I agree. I thought this movie was even worse in my mind, and then the last couple of minutes were like, all right, it kind of made up for some of the stuff, but
yeah. So tell me, what was the problem? What you hated it?
I mean, yeah, like you just said what the premise is. It is about her being just the most despicable human being on the face of this planet, right?
Yeah.
And so it's both about her being just a complete control freak, a complete sociopath who just wants control and money, versus the son who wants to get her out, right? But he's like a prick as well, so I didn't know who to root for. I hated them both, and at some point there are a couple of more, I guess, intense scenes, a bit more actiony scenes, and I just thought to myself, I don't really care. You could live or die or
you
whatever.
Don't care a lot.
Yeah, I actually wrote that down. I did not care a lot about this movie. Yeah, I didn't. I thought, especially most of the lines the deliveries were extremely cheesy, and just the dialogue felt so over the top, and it was also so bright, and the way it was shot, of just the lighting. I know it's always so jerk-offy when you're gonna talk about lighting and shot composition, stuff like that, but it just, from the lighting, it looked so cheap all of a sudden, you know what I mean?
A lot of yellow, a lot of red, a lot of blue.
Yeah. And just, I just didn't care, to be honest. And yeah, like I said, most of the delivery, like the lines, especially between Rosamund Pike and her assistant / partner, they were so over the top. And also when she's in the chair and talking to Peter Dinklage's character, I was like, oh yeah, sure. I didn't buy any of it. I agree.
I agree. And it's a weird one for me that I'm being genuine. If it wasn't for the last 2 minutes, I would not like this movie at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they went for this sort of crazy, weird looking style and dialogue on purpose. I really think they did. Whether or not it paid off, I don't, if for you it didn't, for me it really didn't either, but less than for you, I guess. But I think Pike is pretty good in this. And I think I do. I think she plays these sort of psychopath, like these psycho, I don't want to say villains, but like unlikable characters rather well. I mean, it did remind me of her character in Gone Girl. That's just quite obvious.
Yeah, but I thought it was the worst, the worst version,
In terms of quality or in terms of like morals?
I guess both.
I mean, no, well, yeah.
Because just she seemed way more two-dimensional than in Gone Girl.
Yeah, I think that is on purpose. I think that's the sort of superficiality. Is that a word? We'll go with it. I mean, I think that's what the director, who also wrote the screenplay, went for. It's directed by Jay Blakeson.
Who's done not a lot of good stuff.
What have you seen?
I haven't seen any of it, just from what I've heard, I guess. What I've seen that the titles that I've read that he's done, I guess.
Yes.
Like The Fifth Wave or like the new Kit Harington show. He's, I think, directed some of the episodes.
Yes, but he also directed a movie called The Disappearance of Alice Creed, which I saw many, many years ago, and that is
it good?
Pretty good. Yes.
Really, it kind of looks a bit like a B movie,
It is.
Okay.
I mean, it's not there's no way that this is like a Hollywood blockbuster. But it's a very little, small, contained thriller that's very good, only starring 3 people. But yeah, I think I Care a Lot is one of the darkest movies. It just, as you said, I mean, you don't really root for anyone. The subject matter is quite dark, and you just think everyone in the movie is quite despicable. I found myself rooting for Peter Dinklage's character throughout the whole thing. Even though he's a Russian mafia guy who kills people. But I just thought that Rosamund Pike's character was so unlikable. And I think that's a testament to the movie. I think that's what they went for. And I agree with you. This is not like a spectacular movie. For me, this was a rather lackluster week of watching because I didn't enjoy both the things I watched like as much as I hoped. But I did enjoy I Care a lot more. And I think I might watch this again sometime, which I won't say of the second one. Yeah, I do think this has this sort of playful, dark element to it that I quite enjoy. There's some weird scenes in there. I don't know why she put her tooth in milk. Is that a thing you do?
I wanted to Google that as well, I guess.
Is that that sort of it's like if you put a finger on ice, that's the thing you got to do with the tooth?
It's like because of the calcium. I don't know, maybe.
It's such a weird thing too. She bought, like, this is not a spoiler by any means, but she buys like a a bottle of milk, right? Or whatever, canister of milk.
I mean,
And she puts
Google this. Yes, sorry.
She puts
Go
a
ahead.
tooth in it, and then a couple of scenes later, you see her put down the bottle of milk, and there's like only like a little bit of milk left. So did she drink half the cup with the fucking tooth in it?
I guess, yeah.
I think that sort of tells you everything you need to know about this character. You're looking it up if you put tooth.
Yeah,
teeth
the tooth must stay moist at all times, either in your mouth or if it can't be replaced in the socket, put it in milk in your mouth next to your cheek or an emergency prevention. Don't use. Okay, but it means put milk in your mouth and then the tooth inside of it, or what?
I would never even think that you could insert the old tooth back into your mouth.
Ah, okay, yeah. If you put it in milk, it prevents the tooth from drying out, and it prevents the root of your tooth from dying out. Interesting.
I would have just thought the tooth is gone. I would think you can get
me as well. It wouldn't be easy
tooth.
to put something else in. Yeah.
What a discussion we're having on a movie that is called that has nothing to do with tooth. Teeth.
Well, we'll learn something new.
Yeah.
It's the most important part.
Yeah. I mean, I saw this yesterday. I mean, obviously, we were recording this on Saturday. It came out yesterday. And I think the more I think about it, it is weird. I completely understand why you didn't like it. But I do think that the last 2 minutes make it an interesting movie. And I did not see that coming at all. Because whenever I watch a movie that is sort of about a con artist or someone who tricks other people, I'm pretty good at sort of discovering where the movie's going and what the twist is going to be, or not necessarily the twist, but how it's going to end or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And with this one, I had my ideas, from the first moment. I thought, okay, this is what's going to happen. And none of that happened. And I was very surprised by the end. And I thought there was pretty smart story writing. I really do.
Yeah, I do agree. Yeah, that the last couple of minutes were the best part of it, probably. But there were also a couple of scenes that made no freaking sense to me.
Like
just
what?
from a logic standpoint, which is tough to talk about because they all happened like the last 15 minutes or so.
Okay.
But one of them, before she puts her tooth in the milk, for anybody who's seen the movie now knows what I'm talking about, I think.
Yes.
What leads her to that. And then shouldn't she be completely fucking wasted?
I 100% agree. And I hated that aspect of it. Like,
no sense,
the people are trying to kill her. And these people know what they're doing apparently, but they can't manage to. I hate that in movies like this.
Yeah.
I hate it. Same with her girlfriend.
As well, yeah. And the explosion made also no sense.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. And then also when there's a bit of a parlay, also made not a lot of sense to me, but...
When there's a bit of parlay?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like a bit of a negotiation.
Towards the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're pretty far away from your mic, by the way.
I am. I shouldn't be.
I know.
Maybe it's gone down. I'm going to do some clicking. Bear with me. And it is... it should be the usual. All right. Weird.
I'm just going by your, the wave bar.
All right,
That's not what it's called at all.
Weird.
But,
okay, maybe I have to be even closer today.
Yeah, you got to eat it. All right. That's my pick of the week. It's called I Care a Lot. It's on Netflix. Let's talk about your pick of the week.
Yeah, so my pick of the week is News of the World. I think we've alluded to it before, a couple of minutes ago. It's the new Paul Greengrass movie, who's done the Bourne movies, Captain Phillips, and quite a few other things.
I love Paul Greengrass.
Yeah, it's a favorite director.
He's definitely one of my favorites, yeah. And I love Captain Phillips, by the way. It's one of the best movies.
But yeah, it stars Tom Hanks, who's one of the biggest names in Hollywood, I guess. And he's done a lot, and like Flo said, it's a Western. I think you've mentioned that.
I don't think I did, but I implied that I didn't enjoy the genre. So
all right, okay. That was it. And what is interesting, it also stars a young German actress, Helena Zengel, sorry.
Yes.
I don't know how you would pronounce her name in English. Helena Zengel.
Sounds pretty good. Yeah.
Who's been in System Crasher, which is a fairly popular German movie that came out 2 years ago, which I haven't seen. Have you?
I haven't either.
Okay, perfect.
But I've heard so many people rave about it.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's on Netflix as well.
Is it?
I thought it definitely was.
Yeah, I've heard amazing things about this film as well, but it sounds very tough to watch.
Yes.
And it's just so tough to motivate myself to watch these kinds of movies. But anyway, yeah, it's a Western, and it's about Tom Hanks's character who reads the news. He travels all over the West, over I think Texas it is, to read newspapers because a lot of people don't have access, especially back then, which explains the very clever title, News of the World.
They were pretty proud of themselves when they came up with that title.
Yeah. Actually, I thought about this while watching the movie, just the writers. News of the World, dude, that's an amazing title.
High-fiving each other.
Yeah. It's gonna be an Oscar for sure. Yeah, but anyway, he travels from town to town, and then eventually on his way to the next town, he comes upon a little girl whose wagon had been hijacked, and the people who were transporting her were killed because when she was very young, she was kidnapped by Native Americans who have now been killed, and she is to be reunited with her remaining family. And it falls upon Tom Hanks's character to reunite her. And it's their journey across the West and getting to know each other. It's The Last of Us in the Wild West.
I mean, I would not. I mean, come on now.
Played that video game. It's the worst. The worst version of it, which I've said twice now in this video. But yeah, should we play a little trailer, a little clip?
Sure.
Road taking its toll.
These are difficult times. Bad times.
Captain!
I shoot, you go. Where'd you serve, Captain? 3rd Texas Infantry.
What's your business up here?
I read the news from town to town. I was headed down south. I found this child.
Friend.
You were kidnapped when they attacked your family 6 years prior. To your heaven. I'm returning her to her surviving family. She doesn't have any English.
Captain, why are you doing this?
After 4 years of war, all the killing and all the blood, I guess we both have demons to face.
All right, so that was the trailer for News of the World. And I mean, what did you not like about this film? Because I was so sure that you were going to prefer this movie over I Care a Lot.
I don't know how you could ever think that. I mean, you must know that sort of story is not really for me. Or this is the setting, I guess.
Yeah, sure, but I thought it was still better made than I Care a Lot, just from a production value and from a acting standpoint as well.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I agree that the movie looks great.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Tom Hanks and what was her name? Helene Ziegler. Zenger. I think they're both great.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just such a drag for me to watch this. I mean, it took me like a couple of sittings. I did not watch this in one go by any means. And it's just such a predictable story. I mean, it really is.
I completely agree. You could predict every single beat of this movie.
Yeah. And I mean, not a lot. I mean, I didn't hate this movie. I think it's a fine movie, but there's just nothing that stands out to me. Nothing that stands out to me. The whole thing, it's like the whole journey is, they get together, then there's a journey to bring her somewhere. On the way, there's actually like a couple of unexpected action scenes. Unexpected sort of implies that there are things that I didn't anticipate. They're not really unexpected, but they were like, okay. I like the villain. I think his name is J.G. Almay. I remember that name. I think that was a great name. The guy who fights them on the mountainside or whatever. Yeah, I like that scene.
More of the entertaining scenes. Yeah, I agree.
But I mean, the rest is just all very, very predictable, and nothing really stands out to me.
Yeah, what stood out to me was that scene that you just mentioned, the whole like fight scene. I
Yeah.
thought it was well made, and the way they kind of solved it, I didn't expect, and I kind of liked it.
Mhm.
But what I also liked was Helena Zengel. I think her performance was very good, and I thought also what I liked. I mean, she's a German actress, and she plays the child of German immigrants. But the thing is that she's lived with Native Americans so long that she speaks more their language than she does German. And then Tom Hanks tries to speak German with her, and every time she tries to answer in German, which she does sometimes, a little bit, very broken German, just the way she talked is very convincing because, yeah, it's not her primary language anymore. And I thought for a child to have that kind of nuance in how she talked was quite good.
I
Which
agree.
is-
I mean, I think she's great. Really do.
I was contemplating, putting MattColbo's video as my pick, but I think it's just to be pointed out, her performance was very good. And it's, while the story wasn't what I wanted it to be,
Right.
I think it's just from how much effort went into this, I think it's just more remarkable. If you know
Okay.
what I mean.
I mean, I guess. I once again, I think Hanks is pretty good in this as well. I think she was nominated for a Golden Globe.
For News of the World,
Yeah.
I think she was known for System Crashers only, right? I mean, I
No,
might
she
be
she
wrong.
got nominated for this.
Oh, okay. Good
Yeah.
for her.
It's got 2 nominations, which is Best Original Score,
Mm-hmm.
James Newton Howard, and her performance. Yeah,
Which reminds me, I think one of the best things about I Care a Lot was actually the soundtrack.
yeah, that was pretty good. I mean,
It wasn't unique, but it
Yeah.
had a nice feeling. It fit the feeling of the film quite well.
that reminds me. Sorry, just one little
Please.
thing. I love I don't know why, but that moment when Peter Dinklage goes into the safety deposit box, and inside his safety deposit box is
Yeah.
just one key for the safety deposit box that is above his. I thought that was a genius move. I don't know
But-
why.
Is the other key a universal key? Because you always need the second key from the bank. And then he just uses the key from the bank twice, which only makes sense if it's a universal key, which works on all lockboxes.
Interesting. I didn't think of this. I mean, maybe they took some liberties there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it would kind of make sense to have a universal key just to not to have like, I don't know, 500 keys lying around.
I guess. I don't know. But sorry, let's go back to News of the World.
But yeah, please.
I also wanted to mention that this movie stars Elizabeth Marvel.
Yeah.
Sorry, she plays like an old acquaintance of Tom Hanks, and she speaks what's the language? Kawi?
Creole. I mean, there's so many Native American languages, and I forgot which one she
Kiowa.
speaks.
Kiowa, I think. And she's able to communicate with the girl.
Yeah.
And as soon as whenever I see Elizabeth Marvel, I have to think of Bill Kemp, because I think they're together in real life. And who shows up like the last 15 minutes of the movie? Bill Kemp himself, the legend of this podcast, who's been in every movie ever made, apparently. I love that they're both in this. Very small roles, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought the scene with her was quite heavy-handed. Like it felt so unnatural. So here I am. Oh, okay, I speak this perfectly. Let me explain everything.
Yeah, it's very
But there's also an actor, which brings me to a bit of a honorable mention that I almost forgot actually. Fred Heckinger, I think his name is. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Is in News of the World. He's the guy who kind of helps them out.
Yeah, John
The young
Cali.
guy?
Yeah.
And I've recently seen 8th Grade.
Okay.
And he
Yeah.
also has a bit of a role there.
Yeah, that movie
And-
is finally out.
Yeah,
On Netflix.
on
I think,
Netflix, yeah. And I finally got to watch it, and it's great. It's hard to watch, but it's
Well,
so
there you
great.
go. You always had like things about it because it was Bo Burnham.
Yeah. Yeah,
What's the
I,
word? You always had it's a good word. It's a good word I'm thinking of. I can't think of it though. Repercussions? No, that's
No,
definitely the
no.
wrong word. You always had God.
Watch us learn English in real time.
Yeah. Hold on. I need to look this up because otherwise, and I know what the German word is. Here we go. You always had that's definitely not the right word. What? hold on. I got
Reservations?
Inhibitions, reservations, right.
Okay.
Yes, because you weren't a big fan of Bo Burnham?
Yeah, I didn't like his comedy, his style of comedy. But, I mean, there's nothing of that in the movie, or close to nothing.
It's a terrific film, 8th grade.
And I also watched a short movie on the Omeleto YouTube channel, which I've talked about a couple of times, I think, during the course of this podcast. But there's a new short film with Will Ferrell and Fred Heckinger.
Okay.
Where Will Ferrell plays a psychiatrist who is in the middle of a meeting with one of his patients who was talking about how depressed he is and that he's maybe thinking of hurting himself. And then suddenly his son bursts in the room in full wrestling outfit and is like, "Come on, Dad, you gotta come with me. You gotta watch my match. You promised." And tries to forcefully drag him out. And he's like, "No, this is so unprofessional. I'm so sorry. So you can't do this. He's about to kill himself. So I'm fine. Just go. No, I can't leave you." And it's just them fighting and the son losing his shit because he wants his father to be there. It's very fun, very
interesting. It's
stupid.
Directed by Zach Woods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he plays the patient.
Yeah, no. It's directed by him.
Oh, sorry. Then
That's the guy who stars in Silicon Valley or in The Office.
Yeah. Sorry. No, the other guy. Sorry, William Jackson Harper. Who's I've seen. Right, he plays in Midsommar.
Yeah,
and apparently in Dark Waters.
Really? I mean, I can't remember.
James Ross, the classic character.
Yeah, I do remember him. Yeah. I do remember him. He's on the same board as Ruffalo.
Right. So yeah, News of the World. It is entertaining, but sadly, it was just so predictable. It's just a very safe movie in how it was made.
Yes.
It feels very Hollywood. Like those are like the tropes that we're gonna go through, and then we're gonna have this journey, and then it's gonna end. And yeah,
I agree. But if you like this, if it's a harmless movie in that way,
yeah,
it might lull you to sleep.
Don't you dare compare.
Those are his favorite movies, by the way.
I mean, The Dig was more of a brave movie to make. Well, brave, not a brave movie, but it was a bit more outside the box than this.
Right. I mean, I haven't seen it. I still haven't seen it, but I'll take your word for it.
So yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's it. I don't have anything else. Do you have anything out of there?
No.
I mean, you just pulled something out of a hat out of nowhere.
Yeah,
David or whatever it's called, right?
To put something else. Yeah, I mean,
where did
it
you
was
watch
an
this
interesting
again?
week. Sorry?
Where did you watch David?
On Omeleto, which is the YouTube channel of
yeah.
the short films. I think it was nominated at the, I don't know, maybe Cannes Film Festival or Sundance.
Really?
Maybe Sundance. I think that's why I watched it. Just read Sundance Bell Film Festival, and then I saw Will Ferrell's face, and I did not recognize him at first. Is that him? And it was him. It wasn't a great short film, but it was just funny, and it's just so weird to see that same guy in 3 movies in the same week.
Yeah, wait, 3 movies? Oh, because he was also in News of the World. Yeah. Yeah, you're his biggest fan.
Sure. I mean, I think I've seen his full filmography now, but I mean, he's still a young guy.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it's one of those weeks where we don't really have anything spectacular to recommend, but it's once again these weeks happen, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, you can recommend News of the World more than I do, and I can recommend I Care a Lot more than you can. So maybe
don't watch either.
No, give it a shot. Give it a shot.
I think they're all quite accessible. We got 2 Netflix films and something on YouTube. So
yeah, absolutely. Right. Once again, that's the show. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed. And I mean, we got some interesting weeks ahead because we're both going to work again at the same thing that we worked at last year when everything began, the beginning of the end last year.
Yeah, it was really the last thing, and also the last episode that we did before the lockdown, right? Right around that time.
Right around that time. I don't think... right around that time.
Mm-hmm.
But we're both going to be working together, and we might have to pre-record the special episode for that because otherwise there's no way we're going to get it done in time.
Mm-hmm.
But next week is going to be another regular episode, and then obviously we're going to talk about a person's career in a special episode in 2 weeks' time, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, me too. I think there's just some great things to watch.
For sure. Right, that's
All
it for
right.
me.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching, as always, or listening, I guess. As always, you can check us out on any podcast platforms, which means Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. I mean, you figured that out. You're listening to us somehow. And you can also find us at Best Thing Radio on Instagram and Twitter. And you can check out our thumbnails that Flo designs every week on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you so much for listening. Maybe consider dropping a like, a subscribe. We appreciate anything or everyone also. So maybe tell somebody about the podcast. And thank you so much for listening. And we hope to have you in our audience next week and during our special, which we're both very excited for. So yeah, thank you and have a great week. Bye.
Bye-bye.